I now reconvene to the regular meeting of the Board of Education at 7:05 p.m. with Fikes, Orozco, Na, and Cruz present. Before we begin, please silence all electronic devices and note that these proceedings are being recorded. Pat?
The board met in closed session from 4:45 to 6:57? 7. To 7 p.m. regarding conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, student discipline, a student readmission, public employee discipline dismissal release, conference with labor negotiators, ACT and CSCA, public employee appointment, elementary, junior high, and high school assistant principal, and public employee performance evaluation superintendent. The board voted to appoint Stephen Buss as assistant principal at Oak Ridge Elementary effective August 1, 2016, with Fikes, Na, Orozco, and Cruz voting yes, Hernandez Blair absent. Voted to appoint Karen Minor as assistant principal at Cal Aero K-8 effective August 1, 2016, with Fikes, Na, Orozco, Cruz voting yes, Hernandez Blair absent. Voted to appoint Karina Lee as assistant principal at Townsend Junior High School effective July 25, 2016, with Fikes, Na, Orozco, Cruz voting yes, Hernandez Blair absent, and voted to appoint Temple Scott as assistant principal at Don Lugo High School effective August 1, 2016, with Fikes, Na, Orozco, Cruz voting yes, and Hernandez Blair absent. No further action was taken.
Thank you. Mr. Daniel Torres will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
You stand, right hand over your heart, ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I see a couple of folks out in the audience. Mr. Buss, congratulations, sir. What's going to happen to our science fair? It's going to fall right on there. Would you like to come and say just a couple of words?
Yeah. Well, I'm very thankful and grateful for this opportunity to serve Chino Valley Unified at Oak Ridge Elementary, and I look forward to a great year and a great many things to come. So I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Ms. Minor?
Good evening, members of the board and district officials. I'm humbled, I'm excited, and I can't tell you how grateful I am to be able to continue to serve our students and families of this terrific district. So I thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Next item is ACT Todd Hancock. Denise Arroyo, President CSEA.
Good evening. I'm going to make my comments kind of short. I've been sick all week. I went on vacation for 2 weeks. Felt great. As soon as I got back, I got sick. What's that tell you, huh? Anyway, real quick, I looked at the minutes and I wanted to give clarification regarding our tentative agreement. We are taking it to the chapter on August 24th, and the minutes reflect July 24th, which would be on Sunday. I don't think that's going to happen. So I just wanted to make sure there's clarification on that. I didn't look at the video. I could have said June 24th. I don't know what I said. Secondly, congratulations on the newly appointed assistant principals, but I have to have a little special place for Karen Minor because I worked with her at Lytle, so I know her very well, and you're going to do a great job, as well as the others. And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Yvette Farley, Champ? Okay. Comments from community liaison? Okay. We're now at comments from the audience on items not on the agenda. Pat, are there any requests? Okay. None. We're now at changes and deletions. Pat? Any changes?
The following changes are on the agenda. Item 2. Item 2A1, appointment to the Richard Gerd Educational Hall of Fame Committee. Correct the spelling of Carrie Walker and Darren Goodman. Item 3D1, student expulsion case 1516-50. Amend conditions to require a full expulsion for the remainder of the second semester 2015-16 and for the first semester of 16-17 school year, with placement at Chino Valley Learning Academy. Item 3F1, Human Resources, page 183, under hired at appropriate placement on the certificated salary schedule and credential for 2016-17, strike the name Robert Shirley.
Thank you. We're now at the only action item. Pat, please announce the item.
Public hearing regarding the ratification of the tentative agreement between the Chino Valley Unified School District and the Associated Chino Teachers.
Recommend the Board of Education conduct a public hearing and ratify the tentative agreement between the Chino Valley Unified School District and the Associated Chino Teachers. I now open the public hearing regarding the ratification of the tentative agreement between the Chino Valley Unified School District and the Associated Chino Teachers at 7:12 p.m. Are there any requests to speak?
No requests.
I now close the public hearing at 7:12. May I have a motion? Now for the vote. May I have a motion? Yeah.
Oh, so moved.
Mr. Na, second.
Second.
Ms. Fikes. Any comments, questions, and discussion? Hearing no further, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes by a vote of 4-0. That includes the action item. We're now at consent. Pat, are there any speakers for consent?
None.
Board members, any polls? Ms. Fikes?
None.
Mr. Na?
I have no pools.
Ms. Orozco? And I don't have any. For the consent items, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Na, second.
Second.
Ms. Fikes. All, yes.
I do those adjournment. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Oh,
Four.
yeah, 4-0. We're now at information items. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, so we are at our board comments. Mr. Na.
At a record meeting.
Yeah, we love these short meetings during the summer break. I was speaking to this longtime educator, and I asked him what would be something that he would like to see it could be changed in our schools or our culture. And he said it's about respect. He would like to see more students respecting teachers and adults. And it was short and concise, but he really meant it. So I guess maybe our history has changed, our culture has been changed, and maybe it'll be our time to turn it back, where students do respect teachers and elders and our staff members. One day I had a conversation with this kid. I told him, "What do you do for a living?" And he said, "Well, what do you do for a living?" He says, "I'm a high school student." "And what does your teacher do for a living?" And he said, "Yeah, he's a teacher." "Okay, then he's there to teach you, and you're there to learn." And he's got it. So I hope, beginning of the year, if our adults can talk to more children about respecting elders, I think that's going to significantly improve not just us, but next generation to come. And at a meeting, I was able to talk to Chef Bruno from White House Restaurant. It's not located in Washington, D.C., but it's located in Anaheim, where one day, while his business was still struggling, his mom said, "Why don't you feed those kids who are hungry?" And he happened to be a Italian food a chef, and there was a pasta, feed pasta. It was told by mom. So since then, he's been feeding children every day. I guess about 1,400, 1,500 students a day are surrounding his restaurant. So I guess small things can really spark something too big. If we take Chino Valley here, Ms. Charlene King, she heard a voice one day, and voice said, "Feed your neighborhood." So following week, she opened up her house. Ever since then, she's been feeding the neighbors. So small things can turn into a big, great, monumental history here. And it's happening in Chino Valley. So thank you. At the front of a donut shop, there was a yelling, screaming, "Mr. Na, Mr. Na." And I turned around, and I saw this kid. And he was jumping out of this wagon. And I remember his face, because he was from CVLA. And I said, "What are you doing here Saturday morning?" And he said, "Mr. Na, I'm turning myself into a rehab center. I need a help." And I said, "Wow, that's your decision?" He says, "Yes, Mr. Na." And then we hugged. I knew he could be only 14, 15 years old, but he made his life-changing decision. And I thanked him for that. And I said, "Are you going to be okay?" He says, "My grandma is driving. I'll be okay." And yes, small things, but small things do change lives. And as we make mistakes at younger age, it's sooner that we find them and turn around. So thank you, teachers, who are making big differences. And our newly appointed former teachers now, as principals, you guys are going to do an excellent job because you have been trained to do so. This is truly your mission field. So congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fikes? No comments. Ms. Roscoe?
Okay, I'll try and be brief. First, I'm really happy to see Richard Gurd Educational Hall of Fame, the new appointments, Carrie Walker, Jane Lyon, and Darren Goodman. I know they're going to have a wealth of history, especially Carrie Walker and Jane Lyon, who've been with our district for so long. I think Carrie actually graduated from our schools, if I'm not mistaken. So that's really neat to see. Okay, so all I'm going to do is announce the retirements for this evening. And, okay, beginning with Susan Hazelton, 32 years of service. Catherine Conway, 28 years of service. Clarence Spencer, 25 years of service. Richard, and I apologize ahead of time, Spadaccini. What is it? Spadaccini. 19 years of service. Sharon Gray, and these were all, I apologize, because normally I have my little laptop and I don't have it today, and so two of them elementary teachers. Susan Hazelton, elementary teacher at Dickey, Catherine Conway, elementary teacher at Newman, Clarence Spencer, social science teacher at Canyon Hills, and Richard Spadaccini, math teacher at Don Lugo High School. Then we have Sharon Gray, 22 years of service, child development coordinator in health services. We have Sharon DeBee, 31 years of service, health technician. And our very own Justin Tirabasso, 40 years of service with our district. So I just want to say a couple things about Justin. Justin has helped the board in so many behind-the-scenes things that he would do for us. So we would say we needed something, and suddenly it was there. I think it was actually him who had all these little gadgets that he did on his own, or he would rig up some type of electronic that the board would need. And so a lot of the things that behind the scenes that he did that no one knew about, and I just want to say I really appreciate it, the time and effort that he put in on his own, and whoever gets his job has some big shoes to fill. But beside that, if you paid attention to the number of years that I talked about, 32 years, and with Justin 40 years, it just makes me really sad that we're not giving them proper acknowledgement. We really have to do something to acknowledge our employees rather than just saying 40 years, yay, thank you. No, we need to do something for our employees who have contributed to our district for that number, for any number of years. I can recall back, and I said I was going to be short, but I'm not. So I can recall back to when we did have the retirement events, and you had people showing up to get their 5-year pin or their 10-year pin, and went with enthusiasm to get their pin. And so to be able to say that they served our district for 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, we need to do proper and acknowledge them properly. And so again, my plea to the district and to the 2 unions to come together and let's acknowledge our employees who are serving our district for so many years. And with that, I will conclude my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Joseph?
I'll hold my comments until the next board meeting. I just want to say that Mrs. Blair was unable to be with us tonight. She has a new grandbaby, so she had grandmother duties to do, so that's why she's not here.
Yeah, I'll just say this, thank you, Mr. Joseph, real quick. The SAT for the juniors came out, and, for the SATs, all the juniors are taking them, and we scored above average in the county and the state. I just want to note about the negotiation. As a teacher and seeing a different side, negotiation is there's a lot of financing, a lot of dynamics. It's complicated and also fascinating. But both sides, their number one goal is what is good for students. Simple as that. And August 6th and August 7th, you got the Relay for Run at Chino. And so have a great weekend and take a run. Adjourn at 7:23.